Hello, cousin. I am Uncle Mike, your favorite YouTuber's favorite uncle, and this is year 2, week 39 of my YouTube channel, and it's the second week of big game hunting here in South Carolina. And Bungie's southern cousin and I have been out in the woods hunting whitetail deer. But before I get into this week's story, let me change my outfit. That's better. All right, so from last week, in which I had seen that buck across the creek, this week I decided to hunt across the creek. And we had deer stands across the creek. So this week I hunted in the tree stand across the creek. And I showed up early because I wanted to put out some big time blend. I wanted to put out some peanut butter. What's rule number 1? Party! Love that movie, Peanut Butter Falcon. And then I also put out some apple crush liquid attractant. And then I got myself situated up in the tree stand. And I had something new to play with this week. That does not sound right, but I had something new to play with, which is this new extinguisher deer call and system, I guess. Amazing! It's supposedly it can do fawn, doe, buck. I just bought it a few days ago before the hunt, and I'm not very good at all, so yeah, gonna take some practice. So every about 10 or 15 minutes, I would blow a call. Probably scared more deer away than I actually attracted with that, but but I would make a call every about 10 or 15 minutes. And I had known from last week that that buck was moving through just after 8 a.m. So I had a good 45 minute to 1 hour wait. And so I looked at my phone and it was about 8:15, and I look over on my right, and through the dense green foliage, because just now in South Carolina the colors are starting to change, and I look over and I'm like, that's a new color. That's a deer, because I see motion, and then I could see the motion was the little tail. So I was like, that's a deer. And so I kept looking over, but of course the motion, because of all of the foliage, and it was about 100 yards out through all that dense foliage, the motion then moved to my right and I lost sight of it. But I knew there were deer over there. So I kept a lookout over there. And then all of a sudden, about 25 yards away, right over here, so less to the right over here, now I see a deer, and this deer is broadside to me. So I take out my trusty little Nikon Archer's Choice. I've had this for a long time. It's kind of neat. And so yeah, so I look, and I've been practicing being, if you watch any of my videos about weight loss or anything like that, you know that I'm trying to be mindful of a lot of things, and especially my emotion. So seeing the deer, it was exciting and it was amazing, but it wasn't something where I was like, here's deer. No, I was cool, calm, and collective. So I looked over, I picked up my little Nikon Rangy here, and I looked through, and I was just inspecting as that deer was moving down that little knoll over there. And I look up, and on his back haunch right here that I can see are still dots. So this is like maybe a 3-4 month old fawn. So of course in my mind I'm like, let's learn from this amazing encounter, but I am not going to shoot this deer, even if it presents itself to me, because let it grow up and we will kill it later. So I'm watching over here, and it moves down. It kind of moves out of sight a little bit. I can see it through some brush that's still to my right, but there is an open trail over here. So I look over, it starts to walk away, and I'm like, that was amazing. But it turns around and it comes back just slow, because the kid's kind of like looking and doing something, and then it would kind of look up. I don't know if it was catching my scent or smelling the food plot, because all of the food stuff was actually over here to the left and it was over here to the right. So it hadn't actually moved into what I would consider, right, the food plot, the kill zone, the shot zone, whatever you want to call it. But it was over here, and it was amazing to watch from the tree stand, because I have not shot anything with a crossbow. Bungie's southern cousin has not killed anything ever. So we are still learning, and so it's still amazing things to see and to encounter and to experience and to learn. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this little fawn. This little fawn is only 11 or 12 horizontal yards from me, because I'm up in the stand, because I've got my little Nikon rangy, and so I'm like, oh yeah, I've ranged. I know roughly how far it is horizontally if there was going to be a shot. And so I'm watching, I was like, this is amazing. Well, then all of a sudden, behind that fawn, there's another fawn. And they're small, and you can tell they're small. So I was just like, this is amazing. And so I'm having a wonderful time. I did film it with my iPhone. So if we pretend we're picking up the rangy here, we're looking through, we actually did get to put them on video. So I do have video here of them. And so they kind of sniffed around and stuff. But then the amazing thing was, then I started to hear more noise behind them, still up on the knoll where they had come from. And for a split second, she was in not really a trot, but just kind of a fast gait coming down that knoll in the foliage. Was Big Mama. That was a real deer, and he was big. And so, but there was no shot available to me. She moved down from the knoll, split second, and then behind foliage, and then she looked like moved off away from me for whatever reason, and then the fawns, they turned around and they just kind of then hopped and then kind of just strolled and walked away. But it was an amazing encounter to be that close to deer. So absolutely amazing this week. We are seeing deer. I am not going to hunt much here over the next 2 weeks with Bungie's southern cousin, but then we'll go to Bungie's southern cousin's nephew, which will be then my Howa Model 1500. And I'll tell you all why it's called Bungie's southern cousin's nephew when we get to rifle season. So remember, thumbs up, because you are amazing. Subscribe and chime that bell to get notified, because I am your favorite YouTuber's favorite uncle. I am Uncle Mike. Three, I can't snap. When I need to snap, I can't snap. 3, 2, 1. That's better. Cut. 3, 2.